Hey guys, Pete the Great, and today, chapter 509 of Kingdom came out, and this is my review. So we get the chapter a bit earlier than we did the last few weeks on a Sunday, which is good. And this chapter, compared to to the few previous chapters, well, in terms of hype for Quinn, there's not really a lot, except the fact that Subi fell in half a day. But later, that whole accomplishment kind of gets, you know, it gets diluted because we hear that apparently there was a huge trap. But we'll get to that later. So first of all, we see that Shin is actually, beating down enemies, and Bihei makes a comment like, "Oh my God, he got used to the glaive already. That's great." But um, then Kyokai makes the statement that you should watch closely, Bihei, because um, Shin actually hasn't mastered the glaive, because we see that he swings too slowly. Like he'll swing, but since he swings slowly, he'll get hit, And then he says this blasphemous thing, calling the glaive a shitty glaive, and I'm gonna like, oh my God, don't say that. And basically, they realize that they need to haul ass to get accomplishments now because the Mountain Tribe has already, done pretty much everything besides conquer the city. So we he was like, well, Haitian unit, we gotta do something so that we get the accomplishments in this battle. So they haul ass, they win, they capture the city, and Ohan arrives to the triumphant Shin on top of the wall, I think, with like a flag, and he says like, "Oh fuck, it's that ape," So we see that Ohan and Moten, they arrived to the job already done. It's been half a day since they started, so you're like, "Oh my God." Then BA thinks it's over, which is, I mean, he's just dumb. You shouldn't think it's over. They're about to conquer. They're trying to like wipe out a nation. It's not going to be over in one battle in half a day. So we um, we have Osen come in, and he's just glaring everywhere. Like literally, that's all he's doing is like glare, 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 glare. And he tells people to bring him like the exact measurements of the wall. And at first, I was like, "Yo, what the fuck, that guy?" His strategic skills are like off the charts. If he needs the exact measurements and stuff, and he could get all that, he can see all he needs from like a few glares. I was like, wow, okay. And then we later on we see that he's probably even on par with Riboku in terms of strategy, and that's probably why he was named commander in chief of this whole force. Um, not Kyokai, that Karyoten then, well, they get congratulated by a member of the Ocean Army who says we'll take care of the rest, but then Kyokai explains that they need Utsubi to be able to attack Gyo, which is their original goal, because um, basically they need to have a supply line. It will be a supply line from Retsubi to Gyo, so they can even attack. They can even think about attacking Gyo, because if they don't have this supply line, well, attacking Gyo, as Carrollton said, would be the least of their worries. So we see where we're going. They show us that next. We're gonna prep Ritsubi to be our supply point, but then the news of Ritsubi falling gets to the Zao camp, who was like half a day away from Ritsubi. So we see that had they stalled, like Kosunryu would have been there, and Kosunryu has been a general that's been there, I think, since the first campaign. So, you know, he's he's a sturdy dude. He's hard to kill. Maybe he'll probably die in this arc, and we see that it was just half a day away. So if had they stalled Yotanwa and Shin, they probably would have gotten in trouble and met like reinforcements. But you see, Kosunryu is totally unfazed by it. He's like, whatever, let them have it, but there's a trap in it. And we see that Osen is the only person on in Ritsubi to spot that trap. and basically the chapter ends with the narrator saying that Osen hears the crumbling of Shoheikun's plan, you know, and that means that from this point on, whatever we think or we used to think was gonna happen is probably not gonna happen. They're probably not gonna use Retsubi as a supply point, and Osen's gonna come up with some fucked up shit. I mean, we know he's a good fort creator. Maybe he'll just make a portable supply point, but I don't think that's just a bit. That's way too complicated, I think. But like, who knows? I mean, it's Osen we're talking about. Maybe he'll make a base, and they'll always have to set up camp every, like keep moving forward and set up camp and dismantle the camp and reassemble it, and So who knows? Maybe he'll use terrain that will get we'll get to see. He'll be like, oh, this spot has an advantage, or like a high vantage point, or we don't know what Osen's gonna do, but all we know is that since very get-go he was said that he could just say fuck the plan. So we know that Osen probably has the capacity to come up with something, and just the fact that he knows that Riboku has set a trap in Mitsubi probably shows that he's already thinking about something else. And I'm really intrigued about that something because, quite frankly, I have no idea what they're going to do. I mean, even Ritsubi, I was like, why Ritsubi? Just go to Gyo and attack Hantan. But, that's not how it works. Obviously, you got to take down cities before taking the main city. And, well, Gyo is not the main city, but, you have to take out multiple cities before getting to that key position that is Gyo. So, the thing is, I'm curious as to where Riboku is, because he was further, I think, than Kosunryu and his forces, but like that means he's like a day away. So I don't think they can really stay in Ritsubi. Because, I mean, some guy even pointed out, who cares if they captured it? We could just recapture it from them. I mean, they're really deep in the lands of Zao, so it's not like, they captured something that was right next to them and just grew their own zone. It's like, it's basically the same thing as having an island very far, like an annexed territory, So that means that territory could just be conquered anytime. And that's why I think it's very, very, very important that Osen, whatever he has planned, he has to move quickly. And yeah, that's pretty much what I thought of this chapter, because, besides a lot of hype and build up for the rest of this arc, this chapter is pretty much, a setup chapter, like not a setup, but more like, the tide recedes, and then we like look back on everything, and we see, okay, the aftermath of the combat. So I thought it was a good chapter though, because we didn't just get like, oh, okay, we won, yay, yeah, we won, but let's move forward, and we can't move forward the way we originally planned. And then we see that Osen is actually, he says like, so that's how it is, Riboku. I don't know if he's saying that because I don't know how he's saying that. He could be saying that as in, so that's how it is, and like, haha, I got a plan to counter what you thought I would fall for it. Or he keeps saying like, oh fuck, so that's how it is. And since Osen is pretty much like always glaring, you can't really read his emotions, so you can't say which way he feels about all this situation. So that's kind of intriguing too, because he could very well just have no plan, and then like the three youngsters are gonna have to come up with something again, or somebody else, or Konki, or whatever. But I pretty much think that he has a plan, because I mean, it's Osen, and I'm pretty excited for the rest of this arc. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the chapter. The chapter, I'd give it, I think, a solid 8 out of 10. It was a setup, but it was a good setup, and it was intriguing. That's why I give it an 8. I don't want to give it anything higher, because there was not really anything that was like, oh my god, at the same time. So I think at 8 is a good mark for this chapter. And well, that's pretty much it for this video. Subscribe if you're new, leave a like if you agree with my thoughts, comment what your thoughts are on this chapter, and I'll catch you guys later. Ciao.